Hey guys, it is Friday, September 13th, if you didn't know that from watching me today. We are blessed to be on show number 5 for today. I'm with Janelle Adorno with Orlando Dream Center, Rebuilding Stories One Life at a Time. I love the title. Super excited to have her on here. We've got a lot to talk about. Let us know you can hear us or see us. Unless you're tired of hearing poor Ted. It's been a long day, but a good day, and Janelle's got a great story. But I don't know if you know the story here, Janelle, but what happens is we did one show once, and nobody, oh, what's up, beautiful, how are you? Marilyn, I'm talking about you, by the way. But we did it one time, and they couldn't hear us or see us the whole time. Okay. But yeah, people waved and said hi.
I'm waving, hi.
So give us a thumbs up or a heart. Let us know you can hear us and see us. I don't know if you can. We sometimes have to do this a couple of times. It's 3 o'clock. I know it's Friday afternoon. You guys are probably worried about this little storm, but I promise you that you're going to enjoy talking about Orlando Dream Center and the fair that's coming up, the health fair.
Yes.
All right, so welcome. We've got a couple of yeses there, so we're good. Awesome. So welcome to the show. So we met. We got to give a shout out to Melissa Rodriguez for introducing us. She's amazing. She is awesome, and she's a great connector in our community and got such a servant's heart. So whenever she asks me to have somebody on, I'm like, well, of course, I'd love to have you on. All right, so Janelle, welcome. Tell us a little bit about you. Give us your background, maybe some of your origin story.
Awesome. Thank you first, Ted, for having me on your show. I'm so excited to be on this show today, and no one can ever get tired of your shows because obviously this is definitely something that we need. So I encourage you to keep doing this because it's reaching many.
Thank you.
So yes, I am Janelle Adorno, and I am the founder of the Orlando Dream Center. Honored to be the founder of this organization. It's very dear to my heart. The Orlando Dream Center pretty much is all testimonial based. It's just where I come from, and realizing that I can't ignore it. I can't ignore what's taking place out there in society, and I want to be able to be that helping hand, pulling people out of pits, like, come on, you can get out of that situation that you're in.
So where did that come from? Let's get back to origin. Tell me a little bit about you. Why you obviously didn't wake up in the morning and said when you were 4 and said I want to do Orlando Dream Center. Mm-hmm. So give us a little bit of background on you and where this servant's heart comes from.
Absolutely. Well, I was a little rebel from New York
I believe
City.
that. You're definitely New York.
Yeah,
Adorno's Italian too, so you're good on that.
Yeah, so being that little rebel, at the age of 15, I was just doing some crazy things out there. And behind doing those crazy things, I found myself in situations that were really, really heartbreaking. 15, I was already pregnant and having an abortion.
Wow.
Didn't have a clue, what was I thinking, at that age? I had no idea. But it happened. And then again at 17, I was pregnant again.
Wow.
At 17, I did have that child, and he's 25 now.
Wow.
He's
awesome.
25, my baby boy, Joseph. But being that teen mom was so hard. I had to forget about me and do everything for him. And that meant leaving school, having to be out there and working, waiting in long lines to get free groceries, to get diaper help, on and on. And it leads to the programs that we offer today. So again, everything is based on what I had to go through.
Right.
And
you didn't want anybody else to go through
No, I want to be a voice and say, hey, you know what? This is not the route that you want to take.
Right.
And it leads to when I was going through this, there weren't many people that said, I believe in you, that you can come out of that.
Why do you think that was? I find that a lot. When people tell their stories like you're telling, there weren't people around them that were supporting them.
I just think everybody that was around me thought I was a failure. It was kind of like, there's no hope. You've got a kid now, so figure it out.
Isn't that terrible that a kid makes it so you have no hope?
Yeah.
I don't like that, but
No.
I understand. So you're trying to figure out how to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, try to figure it out how to do something with your life while you have all these naysayers telling you there's nothing you can do, Janelle, with your life. So how did that work? So tell us how you got past that. How did you, 17-year-old young mom, how did you move to the next level? How did you finally realize, all right, I have a lot that I can do and offer?
I think truly, you know, all the negativity just really built something in me to say, I'm going to prove you wrong. I came back and said, I'm going to prove you wrong. I am not just going to be another one in society lost with no hope that is not going to be able to come out of this situation. I'm going to do something with myself.
Where'd you get that drive?
I have to say, honestly, I think it comes back from like my great-grandfather, where he was just an entrepreneur. He said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to build these different businesses and I'm going to believe in my crazy ideas, you know, and that's who I am today. I mean, people, they go, what do you do? And I go, yeah, it's just a crazy idea. I know you will never understand it, but I'm doing it. And that's what's made us who we are today. So it's just believing in yourself. And I had to have that encounter where, you know what, okay, nobody believes in me, but I'm going to believe in myself and I'm going to do something great.
And what was your journey between? So you have the baby, you have your son, Joseph. What's the journey like in between? I know you're going through things. You were talking about standing in line. You had to be selfless, because when you become a parent, you're taking care of a whole nother human being.
Yes.
And you're just not used to that. No matter what you go through, being a parent, just to me, it just changes everything. Changes your relationship with self, for sure. But how did you progress? What did you do next? Did you work in retail? How did you eventually get to the part where you are doing what you're doing now? Because you didn't just skip it. I'm sure you went through a lot of peaks and valleys.
There were so many struggles. It was so hard, you know, and I just had to really focus on getting connected with good people. Like I had to be selective and had to say, you know what, I see the way so-and-so, you know, carries themselves, and I want to be like that. I had to look at an image of someone that was striving to be greater, and that's just what we want to do today. We want to be that person that someone else can look at and say, man, if you did it, so can I. So, you know, finding that was hard. There was a lot of deception in that. There were a lot of letdowns in that. I mean, I met many people that would portray something but then be something else. It hurt.
It hurt.
It's brutal.
Sometimes it's brutal. That's a good word for it.
But I didn't give up. So again, I surrounded myself. I ended up working for attorneys at a very, very young age, actually in this building.
Did you really? That's awesome.
I did. I worked in this building with amazing attorneys. They were young twin attorneys that were from here, Orlando. And just working alongside of them, it just created in me this desire to be something greater. And I was just faking it until I made it, honestly.
Sometimes that's the only way to do it.
Yes. I just faked it until I made it. And they put me out there. And they would say, you know what, the best candidate is a student, somebody that's always willing on learning. Right. And I was like, I will learn. And that's what I did. And I was able to succeed. You know, so they sent me off to college. Nice. I mean, there were amazing things that were done. Again, there was a lot of craziness in there too.
Right.
But it was good. It was a great experience, and it helped me to be, again.
And how did you come up with Orlando? So tell us about Orlando Dream Center, and then of course we want to talk about the event, the health fair event tomorrow.
Yes.
So what's Orlando Dream Center? What does that do, and where did that vision come from?
Well, Orlando Dream Center came through me and my amazing husband, Miguel.
Oh, Miguel popped on earlier, by the way.
He's there. Hi,
Miguel.
So we went to Chicago, and we visited the Chicago Dream Center. And being at the Chicago Dream Center, it was just hearing everything that was already stirring inside of me. I was like, wow, you know, I'm feeling this. Why aren't we doing this in our city? How do we get this started? And I sat down with an amazing man, and his name is Wilfredo de Jesus. I sat with him, and I asked him some questions. I said, hey, you know, how do I start this in my city? And he said, there's no how, it's just go and do it. Okay, no how, just go and do it. So I came back to Orlando, and I spoke with, at that time I was attending a church. I said, hey, can you help me to start this out? And the pastor was like, that's a bit too big.
What is it though? So tell them.
It's a nonprofit organization, 501c3, that assists families that are in crisis.
See.
So we help them with, for instance, if they're struggling with the need of groceries, we have partnerships We have Second Harvest. We have Central Florida
Oh.
Diaper Bank. We connect with them and they provide us, obviously none of this is free, but they provide us with what we need to be able to get it out into the community. So we will give families free groceries. That's one of our programs. It's called Manna for Life. Then we
Oh, I
have
like that.
Gentle Bottoms, and that's a diaper program. Also.
Gentle bottoms. I love that.
That's for babies and that's also for seniors. So if they're in crisis and they need assistance, we will meet them where they are and we'll give them the assistance. Some people ask, well, why do you do this? Well, one, if they're struggling with paying their rent, maybe we can alleviate that by maybe giving them the groceries they need to get through that month.
Right.
Where that's going to help kick homelessness out of the way because they're paying their rent. Stay in your home, stay underneath that roof. We don't need any more homeless people in the city of Orlando. We want to make sure that people are able to make ends meet. So if we can stand in the gap and say, here's the groceries to get you through. Here are the diapers for your baby, because we know diapers are extremely expensive.
They're so expensive.
And it's just led us to more programs. Now we have life skills. If they're needing English classes, how to write a resume. I mean, we just continue to add on and be like that central hub where they can come in and get the resources that they need.
So you're a 501c3, I know that.
Yes.
What kind of, do you get any, is it all donors? Are there?
It is.
Okay, so it's all donors. So talk about that process. We were talking a little bit about fundraising before we went live.
Yes.
It can be a big challenge. And by the way, hello, Antoine. I know your name's not Miguel. I don't know why he said that. It can be such a challenge in this day and age to find continuous benefactors,
Yes.
people who will give you or help you out. So you're having to constantly do that because remember, she's got a goal for her 501c3. She has services, and then what happens is people begin to depend on the services, and then it gets more word of mouth, and then more people are coming to her for services. So that's what happens in the crazy nonprofit world. And what I think people don't realize is, okay, so yes, you've come to me and asked for me money 75 times, Janelle. Well, there's now 150, 250, 300 more people who need the services because they're getting word of mouth about what kind of services you have.
Yes. So we are all donor based. Everything that we do has been through in-kind donations, partnerships, collaborations.
Wow, that's awesome.
We have not yet even entered into the grant funding. We're not even there yet. We're grant ready, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Beverly
So-
Burgess, I'm going to give a shout out to you if she ever pops on. She's
Hey,
a grant
Beverly.
writer. I think it's so important. So tell me how you differentiate. What do you do on a daily basis? Do you have a full-time job and this is a full-time philanthropy? How does that work in your life? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that you're doing all this. You're not a Rockefeller. That's what I joke about being up here. So you still have to, with your husband, you have to provide for your family. You still have responsibilities. So how does that all work? What's the work balance look like?
It's been one of the biggest struggles because I do this full time. I do it full time and I'm not a paid employee for doing what I do.
It's crazy.
It just burns inside of me. It's a passion that I have. And every time I've tried to go back into corporate America and work, I'm miserable. It's just like, this is not where I belong. It's like a fish out of the fishbowl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do this. So my husband has been so amazing with supporting me and saying, go out there, find those donors, keep believing in this dream and continue to execute it. Don't give up. And that's where we are. We're going to enter our 7th year.
Oh, I didn't realize that was that long. That's so amazing. 7th
doing
year.
this. And I mean, we have just this year alone, we have fed over, I want to say 300,000 families.
Wow.
Just this year alone.
Wow.
We have given over 15,000 diapers just this year alone. We just sent 11,000 through our partnership with Central Florida Diaper Bank to Bahamas.
Oh, you did?
We did.
Wow,
We were
very
able to
cool.
do that. So, I mean, these are the things that just continue to flow inside of us, and that's why we can't stop. It's
Well, you have a
just like-
passion, and
it's
you have a passion. It's almost like your mission.
Yes.
You've been tasked with a mission, and once it's in
Yes.
your heart, it's very hard to. Oh, it's impossible, basically, to get it out
is.
of there.
It's like, how can you not do
How
it?
can you not
said
do it?
that
I did say
earlier.
that earlier.
How
I
can you
sometimes when
not?
people ask me, how can you do all you do? And I just look at them and say, how can you not?
Yeah.
I don't understand that thought process. All right, so services, so diapers, people who don't have kids, they won't understand, but that is such a big expense. And think about it, if you're low on power, you don't have, there's so many things that go into this. How does somebody reach out to you? Is this, do they have an application they go through? Yes. Okay, so talk a little bit about that process.
We require that everybody go to our website, which is www.orlandodreamcenter.com, and they will see different tabs. If they're needing diaper assistance for babies, they can register there, and they're called every week. We separate a time for them to come to our center. I educate them on the importance of why they should not reuse diapers. Because mind you, I did that as a young mom, and my son got very, very sick behind that. So I educate them on that. We also do that with the seniors, because there are seniors with the incontinence, and we go to the actual senior centers for them.
Wow.
And we give them the diaper
I wouldn't have thought about that. I didn't realize when you were talking about that. So people will choose, including you, to reuse diapers because you didn't have them. God dang, that's insane.
I didn't have to meet that need. And some children, okay, if they're in a stressful situation, which we were, it was an emotional issue with my son. I mean, he would go to the bathroom like every 5-10 minutes, and I'm like, dude, I can't keep changing your diaper, but the reality of it is I did wipe off the dirtiness of the diaper and put it back on.
Wow. And so that is so what you're saying, and it's true, this is also for adults too, is what Janelle's saying. If you are on a strict budget, I know that it doesn't seem like that was something you do, but if you have to do that, you're going to do it, because what else are you going to do?
Yes.
That's the thing. You've got this. So it's unfortunate that that you have to make that choice, and what you're trying to do is provide them an opportunity so that they don't have to make that choice. Yes. And I love that you included adults, because the seniors have issues with being able to afford their meds, their housing. So sometimes they have to choose to do housing over meds. That's Of course they're going to choose housing over a diaper. And so it's fascinating. I don't think we get in touch with that as much, but also like the groceries. So I love that you brought that up, because people think it's just, well, if you don't have enough money, you just go down and you get, it's not called WIC anymore, it's called something else, it's got a name. Food stamps is what old days.
SNAP benefits.
Yes. And so, it's so easy. It's not easy, guys, and it's not an immediate thing either. So if you're waiting to get that reimbursement or waiting to get those that credit on the card so that you can go and get groceries, where else are you at? A food bank.
Yes.
You have to eat. Your kids have to eat. I think people don't realize that it's not as easy, because we all go to fundraisers. We were talking about galas and fundraisers earlier. We go to these fundraisers, we think, oh God, I raised $50,000, $100,000 here, that's great. Okay, you're like a month. That's 1 month for that organization.
That's right.
There's so much more money and resources that go into it. So what do you tell somebody who comes to you and they don't have any food? You have the partnerships, you said.
Yes.
When they go through, because a lot of people also don't have the transportation. Sometimes that's a problem.
Yeah.
The transportation is big, and people will say to me, I've had people who talk about this on the show, well, they can just hop on a Lynx. Well, if you're not on the Lynx route, you can't just hop on the Lynx. Right. There's many things that people don't realize. We think it's accessible, and it's not as accessible.
It's not as easy, as people put it. It's, and you hear, unfortunately, there's many out there that are like, well, figure it out. We have to have compassion, you know. And I guess if you haven't been in this situation, it's really hard for you to understand what they're going through. So when they come, we want to share hope with them and say, you know what? It's not over. Here is this hand up. It's not just a handout.
Correct.
Because we also want to align them with other things. When we fill out our application, it's an intake. What do we need to do? Do you need a job? Let's help you. Let's help you find a job. And that also leads me to share with you, we have love pantries inside of the high school, Oak Ridge High School.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Melissa asked me to bring that up. Hi, Kevin.
Yes.
What's up, buddy? I'm sorry. I was on my list and I completely forgot Melissa, so I'm very glad Janelle brought that up. Tell them what a love pantry is.
A love pantry is where these students, we are actually predominantly in neighborhoods that are Title I schools, which means very poor and high-risk communities. So these kids might be getting only 2 meals a day, which is breakfast at the school and lunch. What happens to them after they leave the school?
Right.
So we are doing something where it's a backpack and it's very confidential. In that backpack is pop cans, crackers, snacks, Pop-Tarts, whatever, to hold them over until the next day or the weekend, so that way they're eating. Can you just imagine, think about your own child if they didn't have to get through the weekend. This is where we lead to them going into stores stealing.
Right.
We've got to be proactive and think about what can we do to stop these things from happening. So if that means giving them a backpack with food in it and saying, hey, here, take this with you on the weekend so you can get by, then that's a great thing. And I see over 100 homeless students. This is Oak Ridge High School alone. And I've got about 3 or 4 or 5 schools asking me, can you please come and bring a love pantry here? So this is where I have this heavy burden as to, I need sponsors. I need those that want to help fund.
I have somebody to introduce you.
These
They've been on the
programs.
show and we've talked about, they have just for that particular part, there are people out there. That's another thing that we need to do. That's why I love having this
Yes.
platform for the show. I think a lot of people are out there. You're fighting the good fight. They're fighting the good fight. Collaboration, I think you mentioned it
Absolutely.
earlier. We can do so much more when we collaborate
Yes.
together. But think about that. What happens summer vacation, Christmas, holidays, whatever you call the
Yeah.
holidays. So they don't have to just be tied over for the evening. They have to wait until school starts again
Yes.
sometimes. And I know you don't believe that actually happens, but it's epidemic.
Yes.
And so these kids, summer is the worst for them because sometimes they go days without food. You can't make that stuff up. And so being able to have a love pantry, and I just saw there's been some good news about that recently. We've been doing good things. But also I have a friend who is a principal at a middle school, and the biggest problem that they had was that the kids were embarrassed.
Yes.
Because they were identified, and they would find the food strung along the road after they took it. And so having it in a backpack, not having it out there so you can identify them as a child who doesn't have food.
Yes.
Is so their psyche. Remember, kids are not really nice to each other, and it's such a challenging time. So imagine going through that, and you're hungry, and you throw that food out
That's
because
right.
you're getting picked on by. So there's so much more that goes into the mentality of this, and what people are dealing with. It's not just the physical need. There's a whole bunch of soulful, spiritual needs.
The
and
trauma.
There's
a trauma
There's
that comes
totally
from
a trauma.
all of this.
There's a trauma.
Yes.
And
So we definitely need help with that.
I love that. All right, so talk about tomorrow.
Tomorrow we're having a health fair, and we decided to include in this health fair not only the resources for glucose, blood pressure testing, we also decided we're going to give groceries to these families too. So they're going to come out, they're going to get the different resources of maybe different insurances that might be out there to help them, how to get them on these insurances. Maybe they don't have access to computers or so on and so forth. Let's get them connected so that they can be healthy, but then let's also do different various checks for them, see what we can do to help them. And then we figured, let's add some food.
Good, that's awesome.
So right now we have about 100 families registered just for tomorrow.
Where is it at? Tell us about where it's
It
at.
is going to be at 6115 Weingard Road, Orlando, Florida 32809. And that's across the street from Oak Ridge High School.
Awesome.
Yeah, it will be
And
there
what time does
tomorrow.
it start?
It starts at 10 till 1 o'clock.
Now, do you have to pre-register to attend, or can you register when you
I
get
would
there?
love if they pre-register. It just helps me. Just so
Well, you're
we
trying
can
to plan. You wanna make sure
we
you have
wanna plan,
everything.
and it just helps to have everything entered into our system.
And where do they go? They go to orlandodreamcenter.com to register?
Yes,
Okay.
they go to our website and they can register there. And the good thing is that they can see the other services we offer too.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so what's going to go on? They're going to be able to be tested. Are there activities while people are being
There'll be
tested?
activities, there'll be music.
that's
Just getting them connected in the community to know that we're there. We just moved actually into this new space. We hope to stay in this community, but again, this was donated space to us for a year. So
Nice.
that's something else I wanted to mention. If anyone is looking to donate space for us to have a central hub for these resources, we need it. We need it so bad because we've outgrown.
We need
space
to do better in our community. That's one thing we've talked about before. There are a lot of building owners and shopping center owners that I know, and a lot of their space sometimes goes unused.
Yes.
And I know it's a little bit of a risk for you as a landlord or a building owner, but it's such a great way to get involved and
Absolutely.
donate something that's already a resource that you're not utilizing.
Yeah, but that's why we have insurance.
That's exactly right. That's why we have
We have
insurance.
to have a very high insurance binder everywhere we go. So.
Well, I mean, I think it's important for people to know that. There are people that say, "Well, I couldn't donate space to a nonprofit." Ted, I'm like, that is just the craziest thing. I will never understand that. So if you have space, you know someone who has space. Janelle's talking about it would be lovely for her to have space, a hub, and a hub is so important because that allows them to be organized in what they're doing. Because if you don't have a hub, you're just utilizing spaces all over and there's no continuity in what you're doing. And that can be more difficult in trying to deliver the services to the people who need them most. Yes. All right, do they go on the site all the time, or is there a phone number they call?
They can call us too.
Okay, so
407-985-4247.
And I'll share that afterward. I'll also share the OrlandoDreamCenter.com. I'll share is there a different link for the health fair, or is that on the OrlandoDreamCenter.com?
It's on the page.
Okay, so I will share that as well.
It says adopt a block, actually.
Adopt a block.
Adopt a block, because we are taking over that block of Wine Guard so that we can make sure that these families are getting the resources they need. Anyone is welcome. Somebody asked me earlier if I live in Kissimmee. Absolutely. We get people from all over that come to get this assistance.
Well, we don't want you to be hungry, and we want you to be tested. We don't want you to. That's the ultimate goal. Yes. All right, did I miss anything before we start to wrap up? I know you have a list over there.
I do. I've got a list. I think we're good. We talked about possible future gala.
We're good.
We talked about possible location. We always need donations. If you ever want to volunteer with us, we always need volunteers. So, just contact us.
OrlandoDreamCenter.com.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to share all of that, and then Derek will obviously share everything once we all share the information later so that you guys can it's not too late. I know it's tomorrow, but go out and support. You can still get involved. Please. We like to talk about mentors on the show. I like to wrap up the show with that because I think it's so important. Look at all the mentorship, whether Janelle knows it or not, that she's doing in the community. And so can you share or give a shout out to a mentor in your life or two or whatever you'd like?
My first mentor is my husband, Janelle Adorno, who walked into my life and said these words to me. You've got to straighten up your act. If not, you're going to lose your little boy. And that is something that I will never, ever forget. He came in and he said, straighten up your act. And I needed that firm hand, that person that was going to say, I'm by your side as a friend and I'm going to believe in you because there's greatness inside of you. And he did that. I've had many mentors. I mean, amazing people that have walked in my life that are still part. Melissa, Servola, Renee. I mean, I could start naming them on and off, but I've got to give credit to that one man that 23 years today has stuck by my side and said, I'm going to cheer you on. I believe in you.
Love that. Well, kudos to you, Miguel.
He's a good man.
I love that. All right, you've been a joy to have on. Go out and support Orlando Dream Center tomorrow or forever. They need help. This is the other thing. Just because they go off the show doesn't mean that the need's going to go down. The needs continue to go up. And so we want you to get involved. If you're not involved in something, if this touches your heart, you should 100% get involved. All right, you've been a joy. Thank you, Melissa.
So
thank you so much, Janelle. Thanks, Miguel. We love you guys. We did it. 5 shows today. It was an amazing day. Feeling blessed and motivated. We love you. Have a safe and wonderful weekend.
Yes.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.